our religions both outlaw eating bacon.
Yeah.
Like bacon is haram,
Yeah.
but keeping slaves isn't. Like that.
What isn't?
Keeping slaves, you can buy and sell people and control what they do. That's halal.
Yeah.
But eating bacon in Islam and in Judaism.
Yeah.
And that's why I like being transparent and honest. I could just pretend this is just your problem, mate, not mine. But no, in my religion as well, it's the same.
Yeah. Slavery would be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you've abandoned one religion.
Yeah.
Because you believe another one is truth, but that religion of truth says that you can't eat bacon, but you can keep another person as a possession.
Yeah. we can't force him pork.
Yeah.
But no.
Are you Jew in your
Yes, I'm guessing also Jewish with the next Shalom Aleichem.
Only other Jew I've seen out here.
There's one other, but he's a bit satmar and a bit crazy, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but even with slavery, when you understand the context of it, you can't just go around like just enslaving people casually, on the west coast of Africa.
People. When you go to war, you can keep them as captives.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if Israel today went and had a war with the Palestinians and then kept all the women and girls as slaves, I'd be like, "Whoa, dude, that's like a bit of a human rights crisis here. We can't just go enslaving. Like you can't enslave Yazidis like Daesh did."
So what would be the Jewish position?
So the Jewish position.
You turn this into a political one.
No. I will avoid the politics. So the Jewish position is it's halal.
Yeah.
The Jewish position is in a time of basically Jewish. He knows more than most Jews.
That is Christian, Jewish, and everything.
Yeah, he's a very, very learned man, is Matthew. So to answer your question, Jews can, in the Jewish tradition, a Jewish person can sell themselves into slavery if they can't pay a debt, and there are laws that protect them and give them all kinds. Watch out, the camera. Affords them all kinds of protection under the law, but they still sold themselves into slavery, and then you have to set them free after a certain amount of years.
You can't sell yourself into slavery in the Islamic way.
You can buy a slave, though.
You can buy a slave, but the slave has to have been. Well, even if a slave is taken illegally, but again, because you don't know, they're just a slave, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that is in Islam and it's in Judaism.
So my question, like, I could imagine like abandoning one faith and becoming like an atheist or something, but I find it interesting when people who've grown up in the West, like you are.
I think it's a solution.
You think slavery is a solution?
I do. Like,
let's
have it right. Now you got me on the political thing.
Okay, so
we didn't know politics, but
the UK goes to war, and it goes to war in Afghanistan. Ignore Palestine.
I would totally prefer if the UK enslaved people rather than just droning cities and killing them all.
No, but they do both. They do both in Islam. They drone the city and then they keep the women and the girls as slaves.
Well, there was no drones at the time of the Prophet ﷺ.
I'm being facetious.
But to be honest, they were catapults. So, I mean, we get it.
They used the best weapons they could to inflict as much pain on the opponent as they could, as anyone does in a war.
Yeah, exactly.
Muslims aren't wrong for doing that. And at that time, everyone was taking slaves.
If you had actually captured prisoners of war, then I don't think you should just line them up and shoot them.
I don't. I think you should. But are you saying you shouldn't? I'm saying you should set them free.
No, and then women
and girls.
They'll come and fight you again.
Girl, I don't know if you've got any family, but have you got any children?
No, I don't know if you've ever met a Muslim woman. They will come and fight you again.
have you got children?
And the children. You should know you're from Palestine.
He's advocating that Israelis enslave Palestinians. As a Jew, I free myself of that. Israelis do not enslave any Palestinians.
I never said that.
You're saying the women and the children.
What I said was, you should know about children fighting. The Palestinian children are the biggest fighters on the planet.
Yeah, and that's a child soldiers. That's terrible.
Yeah, but the point is, you put them in prison. You do that.
Yeah, I'd say prison is not a slave.
It's a prisoner of war.
No, there's a difference.
Okay.
A slave is someone that you own and you can make do. Okay. So, for instance, if it's a woman, you can rape them.
You can't rape.
You can.
No, you can.
The female slave in Islam has no say on whether her master can have relations with her or not.
We wouldn't term that as rape.
Well, okay. Well, she doesn't have to consent.
Okay, in Judaism, does your wife have to consent?
Yes.
Does she?
Yes.
That's not what I've learned.
In fact, it goes even more that a woman can divorce her husband.
Okay.
if
we
he
can, a
doesn't.
woman can divorce her husband in Islam.
No. If the husband doesn't fulfill her needs.
Okay. Well, anyway, back to the point that, to be honest, these kind of points of Sharia and punishments, I actually do find them as solutions. I think when they're given context to a situation.
So
yeah.
What do you when Daesh took slaves and sold them in markets?
Yeah, no.
What do you disagree with in that then?
Yeah, I just don't agree with Daesh. Full stop.
No, I know, but that particular thing.
So the fact that they're not legitimate from the offset, so anything they're doing is not.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
fine.
it would have to be done
statement.
in within the context. You you can't just take Jewish laws, right, and just start implementing.
No, I agree.
In South London, right?
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of hierarchy of where it's coming from, governmental or whatever, and it has to be done properly. I don't think it's too far away from the Jewish position.
No, I think the Jewish position is quite similar, but I'm saying I have an issue with that.
With the Jewish position?
With slavery. I think slavery is an immoral institution.
Even the Jewish...
In Judaism, we're allowed to question our faith, we're allowed to question the law, we don't have to blindly follow.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to buy a slave.
Yeah, but if someone does, there's nothing wrong with that in Islam.
Well, it depends. I mean, it's all in context, right?
No, but so slavery is outlawed.
I bought a
in the
slave
modern world.
before.
You bought a slave?
Yeah, and freed them. How about that?
Recording! Okay, so John from England has bought a slave.
No, I can't say I didn't buy a slave.
Yeah.
No, but by the way, I was about to buy 2 slaves. This is true. I was about to buy 2 slaves. I wanted to be able to say that I freed 2 slaves. I wanted to be able to stand in a university in the UK with the shock factor, just like I got you, and say I bought a slave. But I freed them. The whole.
But the response to that is,
by the way,
you didn't have to free them. It's righteous to do so, but if you wanted to work them and hit them and do all that, that's all halal.
No, it's not halal to hit them.
No, it says you should beat. You shouldn't beat your wife like you beat your slave. It's a hadith. It's Bukhari.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's saying you shouldn't do these things.
I agree.
Then it's all in context. The point you're mentioning here is, there are people that are still enslaved in the world.
I agree. It's terrible, and it's largely in Muslim countries as well, like Mauritania and places like that.
Mauritania is where there's a large population of slaves, and a lot of them were taken illegally. When they had a war with Mali and things like that. This is illegal in Islam. You can't just legally take these rules and regulations. But to answer the question, back to the original question, as I said, I did see these things as proofs, and I am convinced by them.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's all in context. You can kind of, bring it into the, Western secular democracy and make me look like a slave owner colonialist.
You already look like the colonialist. We both do. So what I was going to say, so I think when it comes to like Judaism, in Judaism we have a mechanism called the Supreme Court, and so they can't outlaw, they can't make anything haram that's halal. But they can put a fence around it and say, to protect this law, we'll outlaw this for a while. So, in theory, the court could come along and say, for our generation, no more slavery. It's in the modern world, it's not an appropriate.
The thing with
Islam, they don't have that.
The thing with Islam is we're a much bigger nation.
You are. There's a lot of you.
There's only a few of you guys.
Yeah.
And if you get one court saying don't do this, then it's easy for everyone to obey.
Yeah.
Whereas in Islam, there's always been multiple empires. You've got stretching from all the way from Morocco to.
I think that's a good response.
So you've got like different needs for different locations. It's hard to outline something. At the time of Umar, he actually outlined chopping of the hand because there was a famine.
Yeah.
So people were stealing. That can be done as well.